I want to start today with a sensation that I think every single person listening right now has felt. It's a very specific physical reaction.
Oh, I know this one.
It happens about 1 millisecond after your index finger clicks the mouse.
Yep. The stomach drop.
The stomach drop, the cold sweat, maybe it's 5 o'clock on a Friday. You're rushing, you attach the document, you type the email, you hit send, and then you just freeze. You realize you just hit reply all to the entire company instead of just your boss.
Or, and this is the classic, you put a client in the CC field instead of BCC.
Yeah.
And suddenly you've shared everyone's private email address with, complete strangers.
It is the modern workplace nightmare. We live in this digital minefield, and we're all just hoping not to step on anything.
Exactly. And, usually you send a frantic apology, maybe a follow-up email saying, whoops, ignore that, my bad, and you move on.
You tell yourself, it was an honest mistake. I didn't mean to do it.
Right. The I didn't mean to defense, we cling to that like a life raft. We think our good intentions have to count for something.
But here's the question we're diving into today. Does the law actually care about your intentions? If you make a typo, a wrong click, a clumsy error, can you actually be fired for it? And does saying it was an accident actually save you?
The answer is going to make you very paranoid about your inbox. Because, no, I didn't mean to, is not the shield people think it is.
So to figure this out, we're looking at a really fascinating set of data. We've got a report and case analysis from the AWDR, the Australian Workplace Discrimination Representatives.
And we should probably clarify who they are, because they're not your typical Hightower law firm.
No, not at all. And that's why their take is so valuable for us. AWDR are workplace relations specialists. They aren't lawyers.
Right. They've been around for over 30 years, operating 24/7. And their entire model is based on fighting for the little guy, the everyday employee going up against, the corporate machine.
So they handle things like unfair dismissal, and often on a no-win, no-fee basis.
Which is huge.
Their perspective is so practical. It's not theoretical law. It's grounded in what happens when a truck driver or a nurse actually gets handed a pink slip.
Exactly. And they've highlighted 2 recent cases from 2025 that seem to completely contradict each other.
Okay.
In one, a nurse was demoted for a data breach she thought was protected. In the other, a truck driver committed a massive privacy breach and got her job back.
So we have 2 accidents, 2 very different outcomes. I want to start with the nurse because this one, well, frankly, it scared me. It really challenges that idea of I was trying to do the right thing.
This is the case of State of Queensland v. Neild. It's a heavy one.
So let's set the scene.
Okay, so meet Ms. Neild. She's not a newbie. She's an experienced clinical nurse at the Gold Coast University Hospital. High-stress, high-stakes environment.
And critically, she's also a union delegate.
Right. And that really matters because she was in the middle of a war with her manager. Ms. Neild claimed her unit manager was creating a hostile work environment. Bullying, unreasonable treatment, the works.
So she decides she needs to build a case. She needs evidence.
You got it. If you're going to accuse your boss of being toxic, you need receipts. You can't just go in with, vibes.
Fair enough.
So, to preserve this evidence, she accesses the hospital's records, clinical material, patient data, and she emails it to her personal non-work email address.
Okay, pause. I can hear the IT security people listening to this just screaming in their cars right now.
Oh, absolutely. Don't email work files to personal accounts.
Well, let's get into her mindset. Was she trying to sell this data? Was she leaking it to the press?
No, and that's the crucial part of her defense. She was trying to be careful. The source mentions she actually tried to redact, identifying details from the documents.
So she's trying to do the right thing.
She honestly believes she was acting in her capacity as a union delegate to raise safety concerns. She thought, I am the good guy here. I'm the whistleblower.
Do you think she's protecting herself and the patients?
Precisely. But the hospital, well, they saw it very differently. They flagged it as a massive breach of confidentiality.
And what did they do?
They issued a show cause notice, which is basically legal speak for tell us why we shouldn't fire you right now. And they moved to demote her.
Demote her. Like lower her pay and her rank.
Yes. A significant financial hit and, a stain on her record.
So she fights it. And initially, this is the part that gave me hope, she actually wins, right?
She does. The Queensland Industrial Relations Commission, think of them as the first referee in the match, sided with her. They used a legal concept called subjective knowledge.
Break that down for us. What on earth is subjective knowledge? It sounds like something from a philosophy class.
It basically asks, did the person know in their own mind that what they were doing was wrong.
Okay.
The commission said, look, Ms. Neal didn't have the subjective knowledge that she was breaking the rules. She thought she was allowed to do this as a union rep. So since she didn't intend to commit misconduct, you can't punish her so harshly.
See, that feels fair to me. That just sits right. If I don't know I'm breaking a rule and I'm trying to do something good, don't crush me for it.
It feels like common sense.
Yeah.
It feels fair to the average human.
Yeah.
But the law is different. Late 2025, the employer appeals this to the Industrial Court of Queensland, the bigger, badder boss, and they completely overturn the decision.
Why? I mean, if she didn't mean to do it, why did the higher court drop the hammer on her?
Because they established a principle that everyone listening needs to burn into their brain. They ruled that intent is not required for misconduct.
Wait, really? Even if it's an accident? Even if he thought she was allowed to do it?
The court ruled that even a mistaken or inadvertent departure from standards is still inappropriate and improper. They said that what was going on inside Mrs. Neal's head, her subjective knowledge, it just didn't matter.
So it doesn't matter if I think I'm allowed to do something?
No. The court called it an abuse of privilege. As a nurse, she had access to sensitive medical records. The moment she moved that data to an unsecured private server, the breach happened. The fact that she had good intentions doesn't change the reality that patient data was exposed.
That is incredibly strict. It's basically strict liability. You broke the rule, you pay the price. Period.
It's a huge wake-up call. The court explicitly said that a lack of malicious intent, not being an evil villain, doesn't mean you weren't guilty of misconduct.
It's like running a red light. You might say, oh, I didn't see it, or I was rushing to the hospital, but you still ran the light. The act itself is the crime.
Exactly.
So if we stop the deep dive right here, the lesson is incredibly bleak. It's basically, you make a mistake, you're toast. There's just no room for error.
It would be. But then we have the second case. And this is where it gets confusing and honestly a little bit dramatic.
Okay.
Because this second case seems to fly in the face of everything we just learned.
This is the case of Rebecca Callow versus M People, right?
Correct. Also from 2025.
Uh-huh.
And the whole vibe here is totally different. Rebecca Callow wasn't a nurse. She was a dump truck operator for a mining equipment company.
And she wasn't gathering evidence for a lawsuit. She was just trying to do something nice.
She was. There was a colleague at the mine who'd been diagnosed with cancer. The company approved a fundraiser selling work shirts with a logo. All proceeds go to the sick colleague.
A classic workplace morale booster. I love those.
Me too.
Yeah.
Everyone rallies around. But Miss Callow was organizing it, and the legal filings describe her as overzealous.
Overzealous. She cared too much.
That's the vibe. And she was hitting walls, management walls.
What do you mean?
The source details how she felt totally unsupported. She was emailing a project manager asking for help with payroll deductions, logistics, that kind of thing, and he just ghosted her.
The silent treatment, that is infuriating. You're trying to help a sick coworker and management can't be bothered to reply.
0 replies. So she's stressed, she's rushing, she feels like she has to do it all herself. On November 6th, she needs to blast out the ordering info. She drafts an email to 850 staff and contract.
I didn't see it coming.
She puts all 850 email addresses in the CC field.
Oh, no, not BC.
CC carbon copy.
So every single person who got that email sees the private contact info of 850 other people.
Contractors, employees, everyone. It is a massive data spill.
You know what was the company's reaction?
Immediate termination. They fired her for serious misconduct. They argued she caused reputational harm and proved the company couldn't safeguard data.
Okay, hang on. I'm confused. The nurse sent data to one email, her own, and got demoted. The truck driver sent data to 850 people and got fired. That actually seems consistent with the strict liability rule we just talked about.
It does, on the surface. You break the rule, you pay the price.
So why is this a twist?
Because Ms. Callow went to the Fair Work Commission. And guess what? They ordered her reinstatement.
She got her job back.
She did.
How is that even possible? If intent doesn't matter and she clearly breached privacy, how does she survive this?
This is why I love these AWDR reports. They dig into the process. It turns out you can fire someone for a mistake, but you have to do it fairly. And M people did not do it fairly.
What did they do wrong?
Okay, 3 big things. First, the double standard. The union proved that senior managers at the same company had made similar tech errors in the past.
And they weren't fired.
Not even close. So the commission basically said, you can't fire the truck driver for a typo if the executives get away with it. You can't have 2 sets of rules.
That's huge. Consistency is king. Okay, but what about the manager who ghosted her?
That's point number 2. Procedural unfairness. Remember that project manager who ignored all her emails?
Yeah.
He was the one who made the decision to fire her.
You're kidding me. That is a massive conflict of interest. I ignored you. You messed up because you were rushing to do the job I wouldn't help with, so now I get to fire you.
It looked terrible. Commission saw right through it. They basically said he had no interest in the fundraiser and was likely just annoyed by her overzealous attitude. It wasn't an impartial decision.
Then what was the third thing?
They also noted the company dredged up some old disciplinary issues to justify the firing, but they never actually gave her a chance to respond to them.
So it was just a messy, vindictive process.
Completely. So even though she technically broke the rules, just like the nurse, the way the company treated her was worse than the mistake itself.
So the commission ruled that, yes, it was a breach, but...
It was a simple mistake. It was born out of a charitable act, not malice. And because the company acted so poorly, firing her was disproportionate.
It was like the capital punishment of the workplace for a minor crime.
Exactly. But she didn't get off scot-free. This is important.
Right. I saw something in the notes about lost wages.
Yeah, this brings us back to that strict liability lesson.
Yeah.
She got her job back, but the commission refused to order back pay.
So she lost all the wages for the time she was fired.
Correct. They called it a deterrent. They basically said, we're giving you your job back because your boss was unfair, but you did mess up. You leaked data. So the lost wages are your fine.
It's a slap on the wrist, but a very distinct one. It says, don't do this again.
It's a compromise.
Yeah.
It acknowledges that accidents still have consequences.
Okay, I want to zoom out here. We have these two cases. The nurse gets demoted for a private email. The truck driver gets reinstated after a mass email. If I'm a listener sitting at my desk right now, terrified to click send, what's the actual takeaway?
I think there are two layers to this, and you need to understand both to survive. Layer one is the nature of the data.
Meaning not all data is created equal.
Exactly. In the Neal case, we're talking about patient medical records. That is some of the most sensitive data there is. The legal and ethical standard of care is sky high.
And her action of sending it was deliberate, even if the intent wasn't bad.
Right. She chose to click, drag, and send. Whereas the truck driver, it was a clumsy clerical error, and it was email addresses, not cancer diagnoses. The severity of the accident matters.
Okay, that makes sense. And layer two?
Layer two is processing consistency. This is where most employers fail and where employees have the most power. The lesson from the Callow case is that an employer cannot use an accident as an excuse to get rid of someone they just don't like.
So if they fire you for a mistake, but Bob in accounting did the same thing last week and got a high five, you might have a case for unfair dismissal.
Precisely. Or if the person firing you clearly has a grudge, the law expects employers to be the adults in the room. If they act like petty tyrants, the commission will step in.
This really highlights why an organization like AWDR exists, because listening to this, I'm just thinking, this is complicated. Show cause, subjective knowledge, Fair Work Commission. The average person does not speak this language.
And really don't. And that's the gap AWDR fills. They emphasize that most employees, nurses, truck drivers, retail workers will never read the Fair Work Act.
And honestly, most people can't afford a $500 an hour lawyer if they get fired on a Tuesday morning.
That is the reality. And that's why their model is so interesting. They make a big point of saying, we are not lawyers. They are specialists. They are designed to be accessible.
I noticed in the source material they emphasize that they answer their phones 24/7.
With actual humans.
In Australia, which is rare.
It is. And they handle the whole spectrum. We talk about unfair dismissal, but they also cover general protection disputes, sexual harassment, bullying, and something called non-genuine redundancy.
That's when they say your job's gone, but really they've just hired someone cheaper to do it.
Yeah, got it. It's
Yeah.
a common trick. And because they operate on a no-win, no-fee basis for a lot of these claims, it removes the financial fear. It allows the truck driver to say, hey, this wasn't fair, without going bankrupt.
It levels the playing field.
Yeah.
Because the employer holds all the cards. They have the HR department, the legal team, the policies.
And the employee has a panic attack and a show cause letter. AWDR provides the strategy to fight back. They give you the script when you don't know what to say.
So let's synthesize all of this. I didn't mean to. It's not a get-out-of-jail-free card.
No, you have to own your mistakes. If you mess up, apologize, and understand that discipline might happen, don't try to hide it.
But if the punishment feels totally out of whack, or if the whole process feels rigged,
Then you need to look closer. Just because your boss says it's serious misconduct doesn't mean the law agrees. Termination is the ultimate penalty. It requires what is essentially a fair trial.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave everyone with a thought. We talk about these cases like they're rare anomalies, but think about your own day-to-day.
Think about how many emails you sent, how many files you downloaded.
We live in a world where our work is 100% digital. Every keystroke leaves a trail. In the Neild case, her breach was just moving a file to work on it at home, something people do every single day without thinking.
That's the terrifying part. In the age of digital work, we're all just one click away from a breach. The line between hardworking employee and data thief is getting blurrier by the minute.
So if you made a CC versus BCC mistake today, does your employer have the right to fire you? Or do they owe you the grace of being human?
And maybe more importantly, do they follow the same strict rules they're enforcing on you? Or are you being held to a standard that your own manager ignores?
That is the question every employee should ask the next time they hit send. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the messy, complicated reality of workplace mistakes.
Stay safe out there. And double check your two field.